Hey everyone, welcome to In Review. We're dusting it off for a dusty game, Red Dead 2. Adam and Alanah got to play the game. I didn't, but I did get to hear them like bubbling up about it, so I'm really excited to hear them talk about it.
Yeah, we had a long... How collectively we didn't beat it.
No.
I can tell you that.
We probably put in, collectively, 60 hours or so.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We've had it for about 6 days.
Yep.
Playing it almost nonstop. And just for reference, if you go back in time and watch this video when we were talking about it for our thoughts and feelings, nowhere close to the end. Story-wise, only about 35% of the way through.
Yeah, we're both 35% through.
Yeah.
One thing that I really keep thinking about it is that I don't necessarily think everyone's going to love it. I do, but the start is quite slow. It's about 10 hours of tutorial at the very beginning, but it's a lot of story, and so much of this game is about learning about the characters and the way they interact with each other and their relationships with each other and why Arthur likes someone and doesn't like someone else and their history. So you need to listen to the cutscenes and pay attention, and the performances are incredible. The writing is really, really, really good, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be for everyone.
Stick 'em up, cowboy.
Yeah, real funny, Dutch.
Oh, I thought so.
I can commend Rockstar on one side and saying, you made the game you wanted to make. It is, first and foremost, a single-player game. It is chock full of single-player things to do. If this is the sort of game that, or if you're the type of person where you're still playing Witcher 3, you know, you're still finding new things to do in Skyrim, those type of things where it's like you can just get lost in a world and that is your world for the next 4 years. It is a perfect game.
Even the different towns that you sometimes go to have sort of their own backstories and their own culture. Like there is a town that is like, yeah, they seem kind of racist around here. They just have these individual cities that have different cultures, and it's a thing that I'm really enjoying because so much of it is getting lost in this world. And I know Rockstar said we wanted them to be games to play as much as locations to visit. And I identify what each of these locations are. I know the people from this town are like this, and the people from this town are like this. I know someone in the gang did something here, and I remember them doing that, and the people in the town will remember them doing that. It feels very alive. Which is great because it's also the most detailed open world I've ever encountered. Like, there's no question there.
Yeah.
The blades of grass on every hill, like the flowers are different in one area versus another. The sunsets in the west look different to they look in the east. Like, it's so detailed to the extent that you could just wander around forever and be like, all right, interesting new things to find. And they have random encounters and strangers as well, so there literally are random quests populating the world too.
I think that's sort of the rewarding part of it. It is like sitting there, to get up on a high horse, so to speak. It's like being a film student going, when you watch this thing closely, you can see all the details and you can see the story. And when you allow yourself to sort of sit there and just have yourself be taken in by this entire world, it feels like a very rewarding experience. And I can't say that about a lot of games.
I keep thinking that getting all of those gang members, like getting me to know all their names and like and dislike some of them and empathize or disagree with Arthur's position on some of them would have been so hard to write. Like, I really do think this is a very, very well-written video game considering the scope of it, because there's a lot of people and a lot of people with different attitudes, and they're all distinct. None of them feel like stereotypes. Like,
sometimes Arthur kind of comes off as a cartoonish...
He's a bit of a dick.
He's kind of a dumbass. It's an interesting thing, too, because it is Red Dead Redemption 2, but you're getting the backstory of all these characters. Arthur is not a character that shows up in Red Dead Redemption 1, so I'm playing through because I'm like, I want to kind of know what his story is. But it is a game, too, that, like, as I'm playing it now, I'm still guessing. There's moments where I'm like, are they going to do a character switch? Are they just going to swap me? There's a good chunk of the map that hasn't been opened up yet. You know how they said the entire first game is in there? That part's not opened up to me yet.
But it is huge as well, so...
Yeah.
So I am like fully sold on the story and will say with a fair amount of confidence that I think it is one of the best video game stories ever written. I haven't finished it, obviously, so I can't, but like I am very attached to all of them. I care about all of them. I want to know what's happening to all of them. I feel like Dutch is almost more the protagonist than Arthur. You're just kind of helping him.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm very invested in this world, and that's the reason that I very, very much like this game. The combat is fine. I don't think that the combat is 10 out of 10 good. I think it's all right.
It feels like a lot of hiding in cover and shooting. I try to be more aggressive to try to have fun with it.
Deadeye's still so satisfying if you line up a bunch of headshots, though.
Yeah, I remember them talking about how they're like, we completely redid Deadeye from the ground up. It feels more or less the same, which is to say it works and it's good.
Yeah.
I think Alanah and I are around the same area, but I got to this area where you have to clear a house out. And it was the first time where I said, I'm going to clear this out in first person. It made sense in a tight corridor. And there was a really cool moment where I was going around a corner and there was like a broken out piece of a wall. The architecture and all this in the games, like in the closed environments, is really well done.
Yeah.
And I could see a bad guy's head poking out a little bit. And because I was in first person, I could just play like first person shooter and blew his brains out with a shotgun. It was like super satisfying.
Yeah.
And I never felt that way in GTA, where I was like the shooting makes me feel really good. This is like, I feel good when I'm feeling better as the game is progressing. And that's like, it's such a weird feeling to describe.
Yeah, so you're hitting on something that's been kind of gnawing away at me. I think it's assumed that most people play Rockstar games or open world games because of the open and free nature about it. You can go and be a dick, you can like stack up things, you can steal every pillow in the land. But everything that you guys are saying is that the value of this game is in the quality of the writing and the crafting of the world, which is a little bit different than I think most people perceive either Red Dead or GTA for. So would you guys say that the value, you touched on the gameplay a little bit.
I love the story in GTA 5 though too. I love the writing in that game as well.
Every Rockstar game that they've put out recently, they've been really good at a few things here and there. GTA obviously always being the culmination of all that. Red Dead, I feel like, is everything is good. Like when I say like the combat isn't extraordinary, but it's good.
I agree.
Yeah, graphically,
okay.
It's the best game they've made. Writing,
Absolutely.
It's the best. The voice acting, motion capture.
The sound, dude. The score is gorgeous.
Yeah, they are executing, I feel like, on what they set out to do. It would probably control better with mouse and keyboard. I'll see that in 2 to 3 years, hopefully.
Let's hope, yeah.
One day.
And one thing that I definitely want to mention in this video is that last night, unintentionally, because you can do missions in any order that you want to, I had the exact same mission structure 3 times in a row from the way I had selected missions, which was steal something, basically kill people, steal their thing, ride off with it, which was like a horse and cart situation.
The worst offender of this thing that I'm about to talk about is, I would say, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, where there's this force repetition of constantly having to get onto a helicopter when you were done with a mission.
Yeah.
And then you'd go do a thing, and then you'd get off the helicopter, and then you get back on the helicopter. Red Dead sort of has that with the horses, but sometimes it will just fast travel you, which I appreciate. But I feel like there's a lot of times where, like, you need to go here. It would be nice if there was a warp to camp.
There is a hell of a lot of horse riding, and I recognize that it's a cowboy game, and that sounds stupid. I know that is realistic, but man, do you do it a lot.
So sometimes it's a story delivery vehicle, right? Like
yeah,
they
but a lot of
talk.
time it's not.
Yeah, so you're just watching people silently ride through the wilderness?
You by yourself are silently riding
and
to a quest objective through the wilderness.
I do appreciate they put in a cinematic camera option where you just hold the back button. We played on Xbox One. That was, I guess, another thing I should mention. Yeah, we played it on a 1X.
Yeah.
I played in 4K on a 65-inch TV with HDR.
It's beautiful.
It is the most beautiful game I've opened. I guess open world or otherwise, I can't really think of anything else that looks as good as this.
No, I completely agree.
Final Fantasy
It's
15,
so
Horizon
detailed.
Zero Dawn.
It looks better.
I think it does. Yeah.
But like, the cinematic camera is a nice touch. So like, you'll go on these long rides and you just hold it. But then, I guess that's also meant for you to get lost. But like, when you're trying to get to your destination, it's like, and maybe I missed it, but like, there are stagecoaches and stuff. But I've never seen any of those say take you to camp.
So Red Dead 1 had, like, the fast travel was the train system, right? You go to a major town.
You can still do that.
You can do that. You can go between towns, but your gang is always in a camp that's outside of town because you're sort of these low lifes who are operating within the communities, which is a really well done feature, I will say.
Absolutely.
The way the story interacts with the town.
And how you learn about those towns and their different dumb issues. Just, it's poetic.
What would you guys say, and this is so tough because it's up to the individual, of course, to decide, but how would you say the ratios are between, like, free roam, being in a story mission where you might be a little more directed, and, like, time spent doing alternate activities if you want? Like, let's just say you wanted a mainline only main quest stuff. Mm-hmm. What would the trade-off be between just silently being on your horse and running through houses shooting people?
It's really, really hard to say.
Yeah.
Because you can do it however you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other part of that, too, which is a smart thing they did, is you bond with your horse. And the horse has permadeath, as I've been told. I've been really good with my horse.
Yeah, me too.
But you like level up your bond, and the horse will actually be able to do extra moves, which is like
drifting.
Has like a cool drift ability that you get at maximum bond, but like you can
rear on command.
I physically cringe when I get my horse hurt.
So do I, because sometimes I'll run head first into a tree and be like, oh no.
Yeah, that will happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a sign of a really good game when you feel a personal connection to something that as a perfectly functioning adult is not real.
Because you're also building up a lot of different things over the course of time. Like, of course, you're bonding with horses, you're saving money so that you can buy new stuff that will upgrade everything that you have. Like, several of the missions, maybe you'll rob a cart or something that has a bunch of high-level rifles in it. So you are just, like, naturally progressing in a way that I think is also impressive because it doesn't feel too video gamey. It's not like, point, level up. Like, sure, you have that with stamina and stuff like that, but a lot of it is you got a stronger weapon because the story decided that you were this amount of hours in, and then we like sort of candidly, naturally, organically gave it to you. And I like the way that it evolves itself seemingly with like the perfect amount of time, which is crazy because in theory everyone's going to play it like differently. Like people will spend a lot of time in the open world doing different things, and like I try to go for every stranger mission I see on the map, the question mark.
I feel compelled. Yeah. It's a weird thing where
you don't have to. There are tons of side objectives. Like there's effectively like a fishing challenge. I've been trying to win 5 rounds of every poker game that I come across in a bar because that's a challenge. Like try not to give away too much, but there's lots of like different things for you to try to accomplish, and you can do them whenever you want to, and it doesn't punish you for doing a certain thing at a different time. If you spend too long away from the gang, they'll mention it occasionally. They'll be like, "Where you been? What you been doing, buddy?"
There have been moments where I've just done sort of side missions with random characters where like we're gonna rob a house. That's like just sort of like a continuous side mission thing you do, and then there's just like different kind of interesting folk that you rob. I was just taking my time while they were distracting. They never died. They were fine.
Okay.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not a sort of thing where like they need baby bumpers and like they're gonna die if you don't protect them.
Yeah.
It never.
They're all just as smart as you are.
Yeah, the game never feels escorty in any way. Where like you must keep them alive. It actually.
Well, it tells you to, but I don't think they're ever gonna die. They will kill people. They will loot people. Like they will loot dead bodies if you don't. Like,
That's cool.
Yeah, the AI is really smart. Those characters genuinely feel like characters.
I think we're fine. Come on, I'll lead the way.
Let's go.
Like you can go on a night trip to go hunting with someone else in the gang and be like, all right, we should probably stop to sleep at some point to make sure we do that. And hunting's a big thing that I try to do pretty often, which is probably why all of my meters are positive, is that every time I'm returning back to camp, I hunt first. So literally every time I go back, I'm like, all right, I'm going to find a deer or whatever, and I'm going to put an arrow through it. And that system, you can do it whenever you want to, but it depends on their legendary animals. So it's like more difficult depending on where you are in the world and what animal you're hunting. But I will generally like kill a deer, find it, sneak up on it, and there's a little scent meter with this sort of eagle vision type thing that you have.
I think they specifically call it eagle vision.
Is it?
Or bald eagle vision. American eagle vision. But it is
something like that.
It is something that you would see in other games where you just click on 2 sticks and you can follow a scent, which is a really cool sort of thing.
Because you can't smell it.
Does that never get to where it feels routine, just like you're putting coins in a laundry machine or something? Where it's just like, I got to keep these meters up, or I got to have Arthur go to sleep.
You don't have to.
You don't
do
have
it.
to. No, and because I enjoy it, like it's a really easy thing to do to just like. Some things like rabbits, it'll auto aim and you can shoot them and they're just dead. You know, I just make sure that I attach something to my horse when I'm on my way back that I can then give to the camp so I can get more food so that I'm good to go next time I go out and that they're all fed. Yeah. So it definitely doesn't feel routine.
My experience last night, I do have capture of it so you can show some of it here, but I was hunting a buck just after I had finished a mission. I was up in the hills, hadn't seen a buck yet, so I hunted him. Obviously takes more than 1 arrow, but I was hunting him. By the time he bled out and died, he was in the middle of a river.
Oh.
And you can't skin or pick it up because it's too heavy. So I had to like mash my body against his and push him to the edge in the shoreline until I could skin him in the water. Which was like...
Could you have lassoed him and pulled him?
Fuck, I didn't think
Probably.
about that. Yeah, didn't really think about that. I just got off my horse and I was like trying to hunt him. But like that was one of those like unique moments that I don't know if anyone else will have to deal with.
Yeah.
Where I didn't realize that was a mechanic in the game that an animal will bleed out after a while.
Yeah.
After you put a couple of arrows into it, because you can dead eye with a bow and arrow, and so you get a headshot, you get a clean kill, and that makes the pelt better, and you get a better resale value for it. And then, like you're saying, it's completely optional, but it's like you can make the camp look a little bit nicer by putting some skull and bones up on here, and like it does nothing except look kind of cool.
Well, that's the same as I like doing that stuff. Like every time that I'm dirty and I pass a town, I will go have a bath. I try to keep my hair pomaded, so it's like I always look well kept, and I will make sure that I shave to the same rate all the time. When it grows, I'm like, all right, time to shave. Like I'm just doing all that stuff.
Fun thing I learned just last night. Once again, this is after like 30 hours of playing. You can shave at camp,
yeah,
but it's going to be a very basic shave. If you go into a town, you can get a more made-up shave.
Yeah.
So there are like different styles you can get, and
Do people react to you differently if you're like dirty or stinky or sleepy?
Yeah, they will react to you differently if you're dirty, or like if you're covered in blood or whatever.
yeah.
How would you rate, like from hour 5 to hour 30? Are you more invested and excited now?
Yeah, I'm more now. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Stockholm syndrome's kicking in real hard these days. Like, it's a weird thing to tell someone, but it's like there is a hump, I feel like, and when you get over it, you are all bought in.
And you think the hump is mostly pacing? Like people have to get used to a slower paced game that's not all explosions and tits. It's just like sit back, relax, let the character details, embrace it all.
I think like the Wild West itself, it is not a non-stop action trilogy.
Again, I think it's more mature. It feels like a video game crafted, and I don't, maybe sounds lame, crafted for adults. Like it legitimately feels like enjoy this story of these people and enjoy it in a way that it should be told, and not just like action, tits, explosions. And they have those too, but it's not just
It reminds me a lot of the way you're describing it.
I don't know if kids would like this game.
Reminds me a lot of books. Like books, movies and long form TV shows can dash against this, but books have the ability to tell a story over multiple years involving many complicated characters because they have the length to do it. And it sounds like this is getting there, where each character in each town have all that in the game because they have the runtime to actually expose you to all that information.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Well, I think it's laid a whole lot out. I think we can hit some highs and lows. From the sounds of it, you guys appreciate pretty much every aspect of the game, with the possible exception being the downtime of horse riding.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few quirks here and there. I can't think of any.
I've seen some glitches and bugs, like food floating, like animals disappearing or appearing in the background, but like there's very little I don't like about it. At the same time, I don't necessarily think everyone is going to adore it, but I do.
I would say at this point in time, and like I am definitely someone who buys into hype, and I get very excited about things, whether I show it or not. At this point where I'm at, this is my favorite Rockstar game.
Whoa.
Me too.
And I have enjoyed most of their games. They have put out very quality products, and it's especially for their open world catalog. It for me right now is blowing away GTA 5.
You're right that the hype makes it tough to say, but I want to say this is one of the best open world games ever made, if not the best. Like, and I just played The Witcher 3 recently, and that previously would have been my favorite. But the world is just so much more detailed that I'm not confident. Ask me again in a month, but I'm like,
well, we might circle back
I think
around
so.
to it. Well, damn, favorite Rockstar game. That is probably the highest praise I can imagine. And if you guys say that that's warranted, then I believe you. That, man.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to tweet at us, and I'll try and answer as many as I can.
Yeah, or just play the game for yourself and formulate your own opinion. And I guess if you have any major gripes or any problems with what we said, you're always welcome to hit us up. Yeah, we'll take it.
Ignoring, block your ass. Also, if you want to see more, if you want to see like a kind of a wackier side of coverage of this game, we got a list on Gaming Weekly detailing some of the factors of the game you may not know about. So we kind of covered it holistically here, but that's kind of more goofy stuff. I guess piles of dead horses might show up there. Who knows?
Maybe there's some cameos in the game you're not aware of yet.
So yeah, go check that out. But yeah, thank you for watching this in review. Hopefully we'll be back with more games coverage with you shortly.
All right, train robbery. Hey, will you do me a favor, Alanah?
Yeah.
Will you get off the horse and take off your clothes?
Think I can steal his horse?
Probably not. That is a huge horse. Look at his
Damn
balls.
it.
Oh, wow, look at it.
Oh, they are lower.
They are lower.
Where are you going?
It knows.
Where
It
are you
knows
going?
you're looking.
No, hey.
Why are you walking away?
This is the wrong place to be, by the way. Look how veiny these fucking hamstrings are.